Morning, participant. We are now admitting our participant to the Zoom. So we will start sharp at 9:30. Morning, Arif.
Good morning.
Ready?
Quite nervous, but hopefully ready.
No?
Takif, are you there?
Just chill. Okay, we're gonna
Yeah,
start.
just wait. Okay.
Okay. All right, it's 9:30 a.m. Hi, good morning, everyone. Welcome back to our 7th day of e-KLESF webinar. I'm Marianne from Utah. I would like to welcome you today to our webinar on Science Communication and Innovation 2020. The title of today's sharing is A Better Tomorrow Starts With You. Okay, should you have any question later, please leave it in the chat box. We are streaming this webinar live on e-KLESF Facebook. Now, please help us to like and share this video. Okay, I would like to introduce today's speaker. We have Adik Arif Amir Ali and Adik Hifzam Takif. Both of them are from the Malay College Kuala Kangsar. They are also the finalists of 10th e-icon world contest. Now we will pass the session to Arif and Takif whenever you are ready. Over to you.
Thank you. Can everybody see this?
Yes, yes. Please
Okay,
proceed.
great. Every year, every 10 seconds, a report of a child abuse is made every 10 seconds. And this is a very, very worrying number. Every year, over 6.4 million referrals are being made to child protection agencies, but only 3.3 million are being responded. From 2010 to 2016, the Malaysian Department of Welfare conducted a study on domestic violence and child abuse cases. The ministry has found that there were 28,312 cases of domestic violence, 40% of the cases involving women as the victims, and while there were over 23,323 cases of child abuse. And when it comes to air pollution, 8.3 million deaths happen all around the world every year. And it's not surprising when 2/3 of the global population breathe in heavily polluted air. And a more worrying number, the United Nations projects that by the year 2050, 70% more food will be needed to feed the population. Domestic violence, air pollution, and food insecurity. What do they all have in common? These problems are happening all around the world.
And with the ever-increasing complexity and volume, the world seems pretty bleak. And we thought to ourselves, what if we could make a difference, even if it would be insignificant in the grand scheme of things, as long as it impacts someone somewhere. There, we went inventing one device after another with the sole purpose of helping people. We basically got stuck in a rabbit hole.
From a device that leverages the power of AI to prevent abuse and also to alert authorities if anybody is being bullied or being abused, to an ecosystem of microalgae air purifiers that creates a bubble of clean air for you to breathe in, and all the way to a smart indoor farming kit, which has an app and is modular, allowing for customizability. I have always been fascinated about technology. Never in a million years or even 100 years where I think it would be possible for humans to make a piece of machinery or software that could drive cars, or even create hyperloop transportations, a type of transportation that is green and sustainable. This is how it looks in real life, and we've just achieved it recently by Virgin. And I could have never had imagined that we would have the technology to be able to replicate what's happening in the Earth's core, nuclear fusion. But these are fascinating things, but I'm getting a bit off topic. When I was about 5 to 6 years old, whenever I'm in Malaysia, I would constantly go to Petroscience or Aquaria. It's one of my favorite places on Earth. The exhibitions and mini games was a perfect blend of science, technology that made me fascinated with STEM. And till this day, I still never get tired of going to Aquaria or Petroscience. Let's just get real. And it would be 5 years later, at the age of 10, that I would join my first ever robotics and innovation class. Well, it was more of a trial session. This isn't the trial session because I couldn't really find a picture for it, but this is my innovation process. Honestly, I was actually quite scared. Coding and electronics at the time sounded quite intimidating. Well, who wouldn't be? Text on the screen and you expect the robots to move. And if you type it wrong, it will malfunction and blow in front of your face. So, but after a while, I got the hang of it and it became somewhat of second nature. Before the class, I never knew how much good can be done by using robotics and technology. And the class ended after 2 hours and after 2 hours, and 10-year-olds being 10-year-olds, there was a burst of chatter, laughter, smile, and droopy eyes as the tension in the room boiled down or simmered down. But the class did change my life. I hopped in my mom's car and I was so excited to the point that I could not stop talking about it. It was borderline annoying, but my mom, being the angel she is, she saw this passion that I had and supported me all the way to the end. And I continued class. I continued the class all the way to primary school. And in a way, it did pay off. In just a few months, I was able to participate in my first ever competition. And guess what? I got first place. It's not a huge fancy competition, but it was something. And it was also my first time ever getting featured on a newspaper. Cool. I was lucky enough to have a mom who was extremely supportive, and that changed the course of my life. Well, that's a bit dramatic, but it's true.
Well, for me, I started being exposed to robotics when I was only 8 years old. I joined a Lego inventory tuition every Sunday with my friends at the nearby center. As an 8-year-old, Legos play a huge role in my childhood. I don't just like Legos, I love them. And being able to make them move on their own was like magic to a kid like me. I was fascinated, intrigued, and so much more. Sure enough, that was the thing that sparked the flame of interest inside of me. From that point on, I started to follow up on the latest technological trends and news. As I was growing, so did my interest. At one point, I figured that just surfing through the internet, looking at robots and machines, was no longer enough to quench my thirst for new technological knowledge. At that moment, I knew I had to involve myself in robotics again. I don't know, it was just coincidence or of pure luck. But one day, when I was standard 4, my school decided to do an after-school class every Wednesday where we could have the opportunity to learn about Raspberry Pi and programming. This meant I could learn while being in an environment I was very familiar with. I was so excited that day that I could just not wait to go home and ask my parents to sign me up for the classes immediately. And since the classes were only using the simple drag and drop programming software, Scratch, it made learning so much simple and fun. When I had free time, I would just explore, experiment, and do all kinds of stuff. And the more I explore, the more new things I found out. One of them was discovering the existence of another similar yet so different to the Raspberry Pi called the Arduino. And of course, being the person I wanted to learn more about it and how it works. Seeing how interested I was, my mom would sign me up to all sorts of classes and workshops, usually every school holidays. Even though it took some of my free time away, I absolutely did not mind because I was gaining so much new knowledge on the topic I was into. Looking back, I wasn't really that competitive. I didn't care much about all that. All I cared about was robots and programming the robots. Mm. Talking about all this made me realize how lucky I am to have gone through all of that. The experience I gained became the very foundation that helped me reach to where I am today, and I'm very grateful for that.
And by some miraculous coincidence, we was in the same kindergarten. Well, at least for a certain amount of years. We were in the same primary school and even in the same secondary school right now in MCKK. And because of our common interest, we became a team. We formed our own team. Earlier, I mentioned a device that detects if a person is being abused, and we call it Project H.
So, what is Project H? Project H is an anti-abuse device that aims to reduce, well, as you guessed it, abuse. So, how it works basically, the device is made of 3 main parts: the audio leveling meter, the Arduino Uno, and the transmitter. In detail, the audio leveling meter would monitor the intensity of the user's voice, the victim essentially, to, to detect whether he or she is being abused or not. Once the intensity reaches a certain point, the audio leveling meter would send a signal to the Arduino to process the information. Then the Arduino would activate the transmitter to send an alert message to the victim's guardian or anyone he or she is close to. Who would benefit from this device? We made this device with a thought in mind that abuse doesn't necessarily only happen to one age group. Abuse can happen to anyone regarding their age, whether you're a child a teenager, an adult, or even the elderly. Everyone can be a victim of abuse. What are the objectives of Project H? To put it simply, we aim to prevent abuse, point out abuse cases, and ultimately help in eliminating the abuse.
This is just one of the many projects that we have created, and it has brought us all across the globe. Well, at least Asia, from Hong Kong to Japan and all the way to Beijing recently. Through our innovation projects, we were able to get the opportunities that we could never imagine in our wildest dreams. I was able to present in front of His Royal Highness Prince Charles and become a panelist for an international conference. Together, we were able to present in front of both Sultans of Perak and Kedah, getting invites to special networking events or even as a special guest for an event launch. Through these special events, we managed to expand our networks and meet like-minded people. And since we were like basically clones of each other, minus gender and race, we decided, hey, why not create a tech startup? And that was how Thinker was born. It was born a year ago with a mission to create products that indirectly contribute towards the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal. Earlier, we also mentioned, if you noticed, that the United Nations projected by 2050, 70% more food will be needed to feed the population. But how do we do that? Well, we will be able to do that through self-sufficiency, which meant we would have to grow our own food. But the solution seems clear, but why do people not do this? Well, farming is hard. It takes time, knowledge, and money. Well, here at Thinker, we imagined a more sustainable future. And that is why I'm happy to introduce to you Fito, your next generation gardening experience that allows you to pop in your seats, sit back, relax, and watch your organic crop grow. It is an urban farming indoor kit that comes with a mobile app. And here are some of the interesting features. First, its adaptive lighting helps boost the growth of the vegetables. And with the help of AI, our lighting feature adapts to the condition of plants based on its growth and changes accordingly. And no space at home? Don't worry, it's modular, allowing users to tailor fit it to their needs because there's no such thing as one size fits all. Users will be able to add on more features in the future. And with AI monitoring, all you have to do is sit back, relax, and watch for it to grow. And finally, there's a specially formulated medium that maximizes nutrient absorption, which is also organic. Next is the Fito app, which is integrated with the Fito kit. By taking advantage of IoT, we're able to allow the user to monitor the device remotely via the app, while the onboard monitoring system will notify the user once the vegetables mature. But the app has other features too. First is a weekly plant, your one-stop planting library. Next is a Vegidex, where you can record your planting journey. Finally, we have Farmers Hub, a community platform where you can connect, share, explore, and learn new things about the farming world. But why does this benefit the users? Well, Fito creates a self-sustaining community by allowing users to grow crops independently in virtually any indoor space. Furthermore, Fito is hassle-free, so you don't have to get your hands dirty or even constantly monitor it. Next, Fito creates a structured living environment, as growing plants indoor can actually help improve your well-being in multiple ways, leading to more productive days. Lastly, Fito grows organic crops, so users will have access to organic food, because organic food is not cheap, people. If we take a look at the bigger picture, Fito also comes in line with its two UN SDGs, zero hunger and sustainable development and growth. It indirectly contributes to zero hunger as users grow their own crops and increase the production of vegetables as the population grows. Next, it creates sustainable cities, as growing your own food reduces the environmental impact of agriculture and creates greener cities. Because with a network of Fito kits, you can reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 2% per year. That might not sound much, but that adds up to 11.2 million kilograms of greenhouse gas emission in a 55.6 kilometer radius caused by food imports. And here at Thinker, we imagine a better, more sustainable future. And today, we have introduced to you our vision for the future. In our Fito kits, we provide superior quality, a one-of-a-kind gardening experience, And by democratizing organic vegetables, we provide users with the options to eat organically and more affordably. Get ready for your next generation of gardening experience. Well, since we're near the end, you might be wondering, why did we come up with this project? Why do we start now? And why do we believe that we can go so far? Along the way, we believe that as a team, we had one thing in common: passion. We came this far because the team's dynamic and understanding and the passion that we have.
Our empathy towards those who are impoverished, underserved, and underprivileged, and our endless pursuit towards a more sustainable and just and equal society. Because we believe that if we're not given liberty, all is lost. We believe that youth from all around the world, no matter our background, ethnicity, orientation, or even religion, we can all get together and make the world a more sustainable and happy place. And if you have doubts, because you might be too young, or you think that your solution is not too impactful,
Remember that no idea is too small or simple, because even the smallest thing, that is what matters the most. And we're kind of proof of it. We're talking to you today and you're listening to us. We came from pretty obscure beginnings, and to achieve your dreams or to make the world a better place, all you have to do is dream. Dream for a better future, dream for a better world, and dream for a better today. And for a better tomorrow, it starts with you. Thank you.
thank you.
All right. Thank you, Arif and Takif, for the sharing. Okay, now we'd like to open the session. We'll go ahead and take some time for the question now. So for our participants, should you have any question that you would like to ask Arif or Takif, you can post it in our chat books. At the same time, I'll check in our Facebook comment if there's any question for both of you. Okay. See. Okay. All right. Arif or Takif, can you share with us what are the challenges that both of you face while you're trying to invent this project? Is there any challenge? Yeah.
Sure. I'll go first. So the challenges that we face in inventing this product is, first things first, finding the problem itself, and really defining the problem and finding like a niche or a market or like a user to solve that problem, because an invention without a problem to solve is useless, in a sense. So that is really where it comes really hard. And after that, it gets pretty easygoing.
How about you, Takif?
Honestly, I agree 100% with Arif. And also, since we're still in boarding school, time is a very huge problem there.
So basically, both of you have to do it after your school time, is it?
School
Yes.
School
programs.
time.
And
Oh, okay. So how was the support that you get from your friends and from your school teacher?
Well, for me, I got a lot of support from, like especially my recent projects, because I collaborated with students outside from my school. So the coordination between like our schedules and everything was actually quite hard. But because of the pandemic, we were able to have calls every now and then.
Yes.
But they also helped us, me create like the project itself, and we section off our own task. And our teacher, quietly, Cikgu Kaize, is actually like really resourceful. He helps us whenever we're struggling, or he will like gives us hints, because he doesn't want to hand the answer to you. Instead, like he wants you to learn from it. Yeah.
Okay, so we pick up, there's a question from our Facebook, from Mr. Arif Azwa. He said it's very impressive. Is there anyone who supervises both of you throughout your journey? I believe throughout when you are.
Yeah. Sorry. So That would be Cheo Haize, one of our robotics and innovation teacher in MCKK.
Okay.
He also teaches biology. But he has supervised me and Takif since I was Form 1 and since he was Form 1. And he has been an amazing teacher supervising us and bringing us to like each competition and like helping us.
Yep.
But like other than our teachers, our parents are also there. Like for me, my mom, who like helped me when before Takif came along. I was like usually like a one-man team, and then like Cikgu Haizi would bring around any students that was interested in the team. And my mom was like really the support system who helped me like whether it's like giving feedback on designs or ideas. And when Takif came along, our parents like really just became like one unit and just like helped us as a whole.
Well, that's great. Okay. Next question from Chin Yung Kang. Good morning, speaker and panelists. Do any fundings needed for inventing the apps in this project?
Okay. So when it comes to funding, we for the Fito project, we are actually applying for a few grants already because we plan to commercialize it. Commercialize it and actually sell it to the public. But for apps, you don't really require that much funding because if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, the amount that you have to pay when you want to upload an app onto like Google Play Store is only 140 ringgit and you pay it once. For App Store, it's actually quite confusing because you have to pay annually or something like that. So when it comes to apps, you can actually do it for free and just like distribute it and see if people are interested. And then you can make money from it by putting advertisements in it. But when it comes to the projects, like the physical projects, we do come up with our own money and actually build it from the ground up. Or what we would do is basically approach companies or those who are doing similar things to us, so to ask them for like support when it comes to materials or technical advisory, stuff like that.
All right, thank you, Arif. Okay, another question from Kavina Murali. Good morning. Kindly forgive me, I missed out the earlier part of their talk. May I ask, what is your advice for me on how to find a problem that I can solve and how can I start innovating?
Takif, do you want to go? Because I've been hogging all the questions.
If you have an idea, you can just answer.
All right. For me, my basis is sustainable development goals. So I have two ways of identifying the problem. First things first, I look around me and I look in the news because quite recently, like in the past 3 years, I've been reading a lot of news and it's not something that I would say because I'm not a news person, but recently I've been like getting really into it. It's like reading something out of sci-fi because the world has just gotten into chaos. But looking the problems around you is the first step. The second step, which is like how I really structure the problem and make it concrete, is to look at the sustainable development goals. Is there anything that relates to your problem? And in the goals, they have sub goals, and those sub goals relate to your problem. And if so, it's quite easy to just like mix and match and just like, okay, this is my problem statement and this is how I do it and this is my solution. Yeah.
All right.
Do you have anything to add on?
Okay. Just a little tip. Like, if you're just starting out innovating, like, don't just tackle like huge world problems like that. Just start out with like community problems like that, and then from that on, you innovate more. You brainstorm more ideas, and that's how. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Next question from Hazim Zulkarnain. Hi, good morning. In today's modernization world, what are other inventions we should consider in Malaysia?
That's an amazing question. That's a brilliant question.
That's a great question.
Everything. Every invention should like be here in Malaysia.
Yes.
We should be like the most modern civilization. No, I think like the there's a lot of technology out there that we're still like catching up because we are still a developing country.
Yeah.
So if we have our own ingrown talents to like create these innovations, like maybe a fusion reactor, so like a physics graduate or like a nuclear physics graduate, don't pin me on this. I'm not sure what degrees you use to create fusion reactors, but to create more sustainable energy or students like the Time Kid of the Year, Gitanjali Rao, create like a cheaper and more portable way of detecting lead or arsenic in water sources. And if we can find more students like that in Malaysia, I think like that would rapidly modernize Malaysia with like increasing innovations and things like that. Yeah.
All right. Okay. I pick up a question from our Facebook. This is from Arif Zikri. His question is, I wanted to ask about your project Hatch. You know, abused people maybe does not want to be examined because they might felt that the situation would be worse. So how would you suggest your product, how would you suggest your product to be used and overcome that problem?
So Project H, first things first, in the picture is quite misleading because Project H, when we finally plan to release it, will be like some sort of smartwatch or a smart bracelet that people will be wearing it around. And it's a method of prevention, but it's not the cure. We like because it somewhat reduces it in a way by using the bracelet to actually detect and send the information to authorities. And we also have another option. So like let's say if you send to authorities, this is going to make it worse. That's true. What you can do, you can send to the loved ones, those who gave you the bracelets, and they could do further actions.
Right. Thank you, Arif. All right. Okay. While waiting for another question from our participant, I just would like to inform our participant here that we have prepared a feedback form for the participant to fill up. So kindly fill up the feedback after the webinar. We will post it in our chat box and our Facebook Live comment. So the response from our participant is important for us to assessing the effectiveness of every webinar. Okay, you can see if there's any question from the chat box. If there's any, the Facebook. Okay. In the Facebook, I can see from SKTTDI 1, Sekolah Kebangsaan TTDI 1.
That was our old primary school.
Oh, okay. No
Yeah.
wonder. They said tahniah. Tahniah to both of you. So both of you are from SKTTDI, is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. All right. So that's mean your school teacher are watching you now. Your previous school teacher. Okay. So if there's no other further question from our participant, but no worries. If the participant, should you have any question after this, you can post your question in our Facebook Live comment. We will forward it to Arif and Takif, or perhaps we will alert them so that they can answer you directly in the comment box in our Facebook. Okay, so all right, on behalf of KLSF, to Arif and Takif, thank you so much for your sharing and also your time today. We hope that the participant enjoy this session, and we would like to wish both of you good luck for your future innovation. And we hope to see you one day as one of our winners or finalists in our KLESF challenge in future. All right. Okay, so before we end up our session, I would like to call everyone, the participant, to take a group photos. If you could switch on your camera so that we can have a group photos with Arif and Takif. Okay, give me one moment, yeah. I need to switch. Camera is on, so is everyone. Have you switched on your camera? Don't be shy.
Finally, I can see the people behind the names, the boxes.
Right, right. So probably they are from a different school. So you guys could exchange an idea if there's any. All right. Okay, we're gonna take our first shot. So you're ready? Please smile. 1, 2, 3. Okay, hold on now. We'll take a few shots more. Okay, second. 1, 2, 3. Some are still shy, I guess, so no worries. We just take whichever we have here. All right, the last one. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Oh, all right. Sorry. Before we end that,
Yeah.
there's one question.
Kavina has a question.
Kavina,
Yeah.
Yes. So both of you, can you? Okay. How do you guys prepare to pitch an idea? Okay.
Okay. I think we should go one-on-one because we have different methods of doing it.
Yeah.
So for me, I am a nervous mess when it comes to pitching. I literally just shake and sweat out. So what I usually do is just stop looking at the screen and just listen to any classical music on my phone, or just decide to watch any YouTube video and just distract my head from what's going to happen. And basically maybe what I would do is just search up on the facts sometimes, just in case Q&A. And finally I prepare by just going through a script. And because we're doing online now, all my pitches are basically scripted, and I never do that. But because online we can make it very, very polished with all your words. So first things first, my advice when you come to prepare a pitch idea is make sure you understand what your slide or your pitch deck is trying to communicate with the people, especially nowadays because you're using a lot of sites. Because your pitch deck is the main tool that they're going to look at. Make sure there's not too many words on the slides because people will get super bored. And make sure there's pictures and icons. Try to avoid words if possible and make it as clear as possible. Try to strike for minimalism, especially when it comes to any not research or research presentation or proposal defense. That's a whole nother level that I have to ask my mom. But the ones that we usually do. And then second of all, make sure you know what you're going to talk about, because a thing that sometimes I tend to do is back then when we couldn't script all our pitch was basically go all the filler words. So if you could remember points that you can go through, or certain key words in your slides, that would be perfect. And lastly, make sure right before the presentation you're calm. You've gone to the loo, you've gone to the bathroom, washed your face, wash your hands, fix your hair, wear your mask, whatever you need to do, listen to music, whatever you need to do to calm yourself down, and just say I can do this, and look at teammates and just go for it.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Arif. Thank you, Takif. So, okay, I think that would be the last question that we have in the chat box. Well done, boys. Okay, before we end the session, I would like to inform our participant that our next seminar, okay, after this, we will have the physics quiz competitions at 11 o'clock. Followed by the STEM career role models for young women by Camille Thompson at 1 o'clock. And lastly, we will have the sharing session by Guru Icon STEM with title New Norm IBSE from teacher Suhana. That will be at 3 p.m. Okay, so if you're free later, feel free to join any of this webinar. And for Arif and Takif, thank you so much for having us with you. And we would like to see you again in future. So please take care. Stay safe.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye,
Okay.
guys.
Thank you. Bye.
Take care.
Thank you.
Stay safe.
You too.
Thank you so much for coming.
Welcome.